Welcome back. Here we are. It went fast, huh? Bowl prep, right into recruiting. January, finishing up with the January recruiting and obviously the February signing day. And it gave us basically from there with the dead period a month to really, turn up the winter conditioning, continue to grow the team, build the team together, not just offense, defensively, the special teams guys, but collectively as a whole team, and making sure that we're getting our guys around each other in different groups and our unity groups. And the biggest deal is that the standard back in January that was laid by the whole team that we set out in front of us, that we committed to, is that we build that, in all facets, not just in the training, not just football-wise, but us collectively, as a team growing into a family. And it's been pretty cool to see how our leadership has really grown over the past 2 years, and especially taking all the experiences from last year and how they're applying it so early in this process of what is preparing for this next season. And so it's been great to see our leadership group, not only lead the things that we were speaking about in the years past, but take the initiative on growing the team closer together and holding the standard of how we prepare leading up to spring ball, whether it's with our strength staff, who has done a really, really good job getting the guys in the position they are now. Obviously, there is nothing like getting in football shape besides playing football. And so being out there today was awesome. It was fun to see the guys that gained experience last year and now how they're applying it going forward. And they didn't look the way they did today out there just because it was practice number one and they played last year, but how they prepared, as we spoke on, in January and February leading up to spring ball number one. And for us, really, in this next phase, as we go into these 15 spring practices, collectively for us as a program, it allows us to lay that foundation. Now, how do we prepare for practice, mentally and physically? How are we going to watch film? How are we going to get our bodies ready? How are we going to take care of our bodies? And then it allows us to lay that standard, too, on, how we practice. Given all the different scenarios, situation, individual, group periods, team periods, whatever that looks like at practice, and in teaching guys what it looks like to build that competitive environment where, iron sharpens iron and we can be out there working together. And, because the ultimate goal with spring ball is to grow, to thrive, obviously build depth through development. And really what we're focusing on so that we can get those things is the guys that don't have a lot of experience. I mean, those first time for more than a few guys out there putting on the helmet and going out there and practicing. It's probably a little bit different for them. Things are moving a little bit faster, but it builds the experience and just getting them used to handling themselves in the pre-snap. And obviously the different fundamentals and techniques that make the scheme, how we finish each play, how we move from one drill to another. And the team did really well with that today. Obviously there's some things that we can clean up being the first day of practice, but that's why we're out there, right? So it was a really good first day. It was good to see the quarterback's operation with our new offense, right? Being for the first day, it was pretty clean. It was really exciting to see how they are able not only to lead themselves, but lead the offense and handle the things that are required of them, and then be able to connect on some plays today, and obviously handle the run game and lead the huddle and do all those things. So we're off to a good start with the progress that Bush is making and our offensive staff with what we want to get done on offense. And then it was really good to see a lot of the young guys on defense step up and handle that pre-snap communication, because if we're all lined up and we're all ready to go, we're all on the same page, now we got a chance to grow and improve. But we lose opportunities to grow on reps when we don't handle ourselves in the pre-snap and make sure that we're all on the same page. It was good. The specialists, I think, for the most part, we were 100% there on the field goals and the situations that we had for our specialists today. We had a few kicks that we can improve upon, but for the most part today, it was good to see the operation, of our specialists.
How do you think Taylen's handled, this is his first offseason as the starter. How do you think the last 2.5 months and the workouts and going into today, he's prepared and handled, his role?
Yeah, it was impressive because of his humility, and he grew a lot through the course of last season when he got his opportunity to jump in there. And that, as we spoke on, it's because of his humility and to keep things simple and to keep his focus on the right things. And he's continued to build off of that. He's constantly, I mean, he's up there. It's not just X's and O's in football. It's how can I lead this better? How could I have done this better? And when you got a guy that has a care factor like that and is focused on the right things, you know, there's a lot of outside things too, new opportunities, people obviously wanting to be his friend and all those things, but he's done a good job and must continue to do a good job of keeping his focus where it needs to be, keeping his circle tight so that he could spend the time because that's what it is for a quarterback, right? It's time management, because what they got to put in to grow and prepare looks a lot different than what the other players.
Where do you and Bush want to see him get better on the football field, take advantage of the spring opportunities?
Yeah, so no questions. I mean, first it starts off with his confidence and his ability to communicate and lead. You know, that's where it always is, because as we spoke on, it doesn't matter whether it's special teams, offense, or defense. If everybody's confident in the pre-snap and we're lined up and we are ready to go attack, then it comes down to, you know, in the pass game, being efficient with his feet and his progression. And if we're effective and efficient in the pre-snap, then we have an idea once that ball snapped where exactly our progression is starting in the pass game, and then that allows us to be on time with our feet, our throws, increases our accuracy.
Obviously, one of the big questions this year is who's going to back up Taylen. You know, what do you want to see out of those other quarterbacks this spring?
You know, all the same things. Everything is expected of them, and that really starts to, again, as cliche as it sounds, and I keep coming back to it, if we want to grow and have the success on the field, then it comes back to what we're putting in the preparation. And we can't just give effort. We have to know what are we preparing for in these different baskets. You know, whether it's the pre-snap as we talked about, how we're identifying fronts and the shells of the defenses, how we're studying film to prepare ourselves for that, how we're studying film on our mechanics, our fundamentals of the position and how we're playing. So for them, it's all the same. And really, you know, obviously for Mad Dog and CJ, you know, for those guys, they're going to be splitting the orange reps. They did a good job with that today, taking advantage of their opportunities. They both did a good job today. Obviously, it's the first day, so there's plenty of things to grow. I mean, that's what you would want to come out of this.
In terms of roster management, are you comfortable with 4 quarterbacks, or will you have to go look for a 5th?
You know, right now, where we're at, you know, we have 4 on right now, and then we'll have another one joining. And this is in the world of college football today. I mean, whether it's a quarterback position or any position, you don't stop recruiting. And it's just the way it is this day and age, Mike.
Backup quarterbacks are kind of like 6 men in basketball. They got to be ready to play at a moment's notice. What do you look for in the mentality of a backup quarterback?
Well, that they prepare like they're the starter, and that's where it goes back to that preparation piece, right? And then, of course, like the backups, whether it's this level, high school, NFL, we all know what they're not getting the amount of reps that the starter's getting. So then how are they being active within practice of using those mental reps and taking themselves through the progression? They might not be getting the physical rep of a play, but they can be in position and be back behind and gaining experience on the things, listening to what Bush is saying, learning from each other. That's a huge part of it, is learning from each other. And that's the cool part about that room is, yeah, there's competition. There's competition at every position, but how they work together to help each other.
What's different about the QB operations this spring?
You know what? I mean, at the end of the day, it is all on the quarterbacks. I mean, they have to understand and know. There's a little bit more on the center with the system we're in right now, but at the end of the day, that guy's driving the bus, so he's got to be squared away and making sure that everybody understands what we're doing. He's an extension of the coaching staff out there prior to taking the snap.